Spark Transformation Podcast. I'm your host, Simona Spark, and our mission is to build a future where no one needs to come out anymore. Together, we can create a world where everyone has the right to love, to succeed, to have a family, and to live a full, happy life. Welcome back, everyone. I'm super excited to have here today Jay and Danny. Thank you for saying yes to my invitation.
Of course. Thank you.
Let's start with the introductions, telling us who you are, where you're from, what is it that you do for work.
Okay.
So who want to go first?
Well, I'll start. I'm Jay. I was originally born in Grand Haven, Michigan, and that's where I grew up for my first degree in college. Got an internship in Los Angeles and came out when I was 22 years old to LA from Michigan. And then that's when, right after moving here, is when I met Danny, believe it or not, which actually was 22 years ago.
Yeah.
We've been together ever since. Through that time, I worked with my first degree in the health and fitness industry for the first probably 10 or so years. Then I went back to school and I became a registered nurse, and then worked doing ER and trauma nursing for another 8 years. And then during that time is when we started our own company, and now I'm just running our agency.
Which is?
Same Love Surrogacy, which helps LGBTQ people create families.
I love it. Thank you, Jay. And let's meet Danny.
I'm Danny. I was born in Hong Kong. Came here when I was 3 and lived in LA, Los Angeles since forever, since I was 3. My career was mainly in IT programming. I grew up in a very conservative, large family, like 5 brothers, 3 sisters, conservative and very traditional kind of Chinese family. And when I met Jay, I wasn't really out yet as well when we first met. And every time I had to go out, I'm always like, I need to go out and visit a friend. I never tell them exactly what where I'm going. Yeah, 22 years ago, and since then we just always been
things have really evolved.
Yeah, I just it's quite interesting as we're moving along. Yeah, especially when I know that he's the one, and trying to hide that from our family is kind of really hard. Took the first step of moving in together, and I kind of, at the time, still tell my parents, we're moving in with my friend, roommates. Kind of thing.
Got it.
Yeah, roommates. So then from there, we talked about having kids, especially with me coming from a big family. I see all my brothers and sisters having kids. I always wanted kids too. I was like, oh my gosh, I would love to have kids too.
Now, that's not that easy when we have only 2 men, right? So how do you do it?
We just decided to put a deadline that before 40 we have to do this, or we're never gonna do this. So went ahead and do it, and from there we have 2 twin boys. After that, through that journey, we kind of ran into a lot of obstacles, especially for the gay couple. It's really hard in the industry. There's not many, I guess, agency out there that cater or specifically for gays.
Caters for family building for the gay community.
Yep.
So because of that, while we were going through the process and all of the struggles that we faced, having gone through the process, along with one of our friends who's our business partner, we were actually just in a pool barbecue in the backyard, and we were all pregnant at the time, and we were just sharing our stories, comparing the different things that we went through and the different obstacles and troubles. And we were just kind of half joking, but we said, well, gosh, we should run our own agency.
Yeah, we can probably do it a lot better.
Do it so much better. Right. And so that led into creating our agency and then completely changing our careers and everything we do for a living. But it's incredible. I never thought that not only having kids would change my entire life, but also my entire career. Just kind of all happened.
Yeah.
Yes, I love it. And we will come back and talk more about your work. But for now, I just want to find out more about the 2 of you. So you are married.
We are.
You are.
Congratulations. When that happened?
It became, ironically, California, or actually the entire United States, legalized gay marriage when we were pregnant. Surrogate was pregnant. And at the time, I know this is going to sound strange, but we didn't want to just rush right into getting married because all of our legal contracts for the surrogacy were done as two separate individual people, not married, as a married couple. So oddly enough, we decided, well, we better wait to get married until after the kids are born.
Right.
So we did that, and then it was just so crazy the first couple years with newborns and especially having twins that we actually planned our wedding on our 20th year anniversary, which was amazing. And we actually had our wedding at our own house and then had our boys as the ring bearers. It was phenomenal.
Oh my God.
And not only that, but both of our families were there, and including Danny's parents, who that was quite a story coming out to them and that whole experience, who originally, when we first talked to them, they, because they're so conservative, supportive of us, but they just didn't want everybody or anybody to know. And they've come so far. As a matter of fact, both my mother and Danny's mother walked us down the aisles in the wedding. So that was very cool.
Don't make me cry now. That's so beautiful, and I'm so happy for you guys.
And talking about conservative family, would you share with us how was it to be gay into a family like this?
Sure.
Danny?
Oh, that's a big story right there. Being with Jay for so long, I mean, even though we don't talk about it, they always see him, and I always invite him over like every Friday for dinner, like a family dinner. So they see us every time together. And over years and years, and 22 years, they suspect, parents are smart. They know.
Right.
They kind of know, but it's more like they don't want to talk about it,
I'd say after the first 10 years, they stopped asking when he was going to get married.
So they kind of got an idea. And then, we say, okay, that's fine. If they don't want to talk about it, it's fine, but I can tell they accept it. But when we decide to have a baby, that's a big thing. We have to talk about it. We can't just come home and say, hey, Mom, look, we got a baby. So we kind of had to sit down and basically bring that out. And maybe I'll let Jade, she probably describe better.
Which was actually quite an ordeal and a build-up to having that meeting, because there are several different components to it. First of all, Danny's parents are a little bit, and so they're very traditional. They mostly grew up in China and Vietnam, and so they are very, very, very traditional, and they just had never heard of any of these kinds of things. So first of all, they didn't even know the technology of surrogacy existed. They had no clue. And another obstacle we had is his parents speak very, very little English. Their main language is Cantonese, and so it's very difficult for Danny to have a fluent conversation with them, because his Cantonese is kind of like very preschool, because he came here when he was 3. His really primary language is more English. So it's very interesting. When he talks to his parents, every third word is in English, and it's half Chinese, half English.
Right.
What we decided to do to make it easier, because it was too complex of a conversation for Danny to communicate, especially with medical terminology and things like that, with this whole process, which they didn't even know existed. We decided to have my brother-in-law, his sister's husband, help us translate, because he's completely fluent in English and in Cantonese. So we planned to have a dinner at their house with his parents, and we told them a few days before, we said, okay, we want to talk to you about something that's kind of important. They said, okay. Said, sure, no problem. But his parents were so nervous.
I found out that they were so nervous that they couldn't sleep the night before.
They couldn't even sleep.
They thought it was something big.
In their minds, what they thought it was going to be was that we were going to be telling them that we were getting married. And that's what kind of they had prepared themselves mentally for. And like I said, they're supportive of us, but at the same time, they aren't really comfortable with the whole public aspect of that because of their traditional Chinese background. So they, in their minds, that's what they were expecting. And they were also anticipating telling us, well, we'll support you, but we would just rather not go to the wedding. And that's what they were thinking.
That's the truth.
Well, obviously, that wasn't what our conversation was. We told them that, what we were doing. And we had actually waited to do this until we were already 3 months pregnant. So there was this is a done deal. We're not turning back. Waited right until 3 months because we wanted to give them enough time to process the whole thing and understand it. So we explained to them, we talked to them. It was rather scary. It didn't quite go as well as we thought it was going to go, because the look on their face was pretty horrific initially. They were in such shock, they didn't even know what to say. Because again, they didn't know that this was possible.
This is possible, yeah.
They didn't say, how is that possible?
They were just, very confused. And so we had to explain the medical parts and explain that, and then they were worried, well, is the surrogate going to keep the babies and you won't be able to get them? And all these kinds of questions. They just said, okay, well, it's your life. You can do whatever you want. You're adults. And I remember saying back to his father, I said, yes, that's true. However, we highly respect you and we highly respect your feelings, which is why we're coming to you before anyone else in the family, so you know what we're doing. He appreciated appreciated that.
Yeah.
Of course.
It took a few months, and they were pretty quiet because they needed to process. And gradually,
My
Danny's
mom.
mother started asking his sisters questions, process, and everything.
That was a great thing.
Right. One of her big things she said to one of his sisters was, why in the world would they want to... The life is so complicated. Being gay is so complicated and hard, and there's so much social scrutiny and all of that. Why in the world would they want to bring a baby or babies into that environment? You know, because it's so hard and what people think and all of their views.
You make
And
your
his-
life even more complicated with
Exactly.
the kids now.
So, and his sister had an absolutely wonderful answer, which really, I think, changed something. I was so impressed when she told us the story. She said, well, you know, they're very family oriented. Look at us. We're a big family. We have all kinds of family functions and dinners and holidays. We go on trips together, and they always come.
We all have their kids.
We all have our
Yeah.
children. And why can't they have the same thing that we do? And they just want to have a family too, just like all of us.
Yep.
And so when his mom thought about it, then she really realized, well, yeah, I guess that does make sense. Why can't they?
And
And
that's
so,
what makes us happy then.
Right.
That's what we
so
should
that
do.
was a turning point.
Yes.
Then they started communicating more. Then they started asking us questions about how's the pregnancy, how are things going. And then when the babies finally came, you know, they actually, the day after they were born, they came to the hospital. And, they held the babies, and it was amazing.
And ever since then, once the baby came, everything was just out and they didn't care. Everything just vanished.
So powerful, because they don't have to be understanding what gay is and how it's even possible two men to get pregnant.
It's so much unknown.
About that, but holding the baby, this is something they naturally know. They know how to be grandma and grandpa.
Yes,
very
exactly. And it
beautiful.
was pretty amazing. And also, what Danny and I did is we actually had one egg donor, and we both had embryos that were fertilized. So one of our twins I'm the biological father of, and one of the other twins, Danny, is the biological father of.
Wow, that's super cool.
You know, believe it or not, they're actually half brothers that were carried together as twins in the same pregnancy,
Wow.
which is amazing. But both of our families are really, really incredible because, you know, they just accept both of them as their grandchildren, and it's just been fantastic.
I absolutely love it. It's such a powerful story of how one's belief could change by holding a baby. Pure love.
Yeah, it was amazing. So they went from, you know, in their minds, you know, we're not even going to attend your wedding, to his mother being in the wedding.
Yeah, my mom actually being there. My whole family, my families are there. My mom walked me down. It's just everything just changed after that. It's amazing.
So beautiful.
So, and it's actually been so great because now our relationship with his family is just really, really strong, and they're very comfortable with everything.
And
So-
there's just no more hiding, no more lies. Everything's all out, which is amazing.
Yes, fantastic. I'm so happy for you guys. And I'm curious to hear from you, Danny, for the young men out there growing up a traditional family like yours. What would you advise them?
I really think that in the end, it's your life. So I really feel that the more you hide, the more you're suppressing your own happiness. So to me, I knew my life will be with Jay, and I know that that's going to be my end result, right? It's always going to be him. So why do I have to keep that, you know? Even though I love my parents, I can't just split myself in two and not totally love Jay kind of thing, and having this whole lie and everything. I just feel that everything just have to come out. I mean, at the point when I made the decision that it just needs to all come out, I know that even if they like it or not, I already accepted myself and I want to live this way. I just don't want to lie anymore. So I already made my commitment that they don't accept me, then fine, that's their problem. And I should just follow what I enjoy and like, and I want to live happy. So that's how I thought and how I approached it.
So being honest with yourself first.
Correct.
Say it out
Correct.
like, this is who I am.
I would think it's more because of financial. Because when I was younger, I was still living with my parents, so I was afraid of being kicked out and have nowhere to go, that kind of thing. That is a big decision thing too. I mean, you're basically at home, can't be on the street. So I kind of held on, and then when I met Jay and I started working, I feel like, you know what, I can do this on my own, even if they reject me. So because that's so stability I created, then I just basically basically made my decision from there.
I appreciate that you speak to the importance of having a financial independence from your parents in a moment that you come out. And you want to make sure that you have a backup plan, that you have something
Correct.
to go to.
Correct. Yes.
Thank you for sharing that. We do not want to ignore the fact that there is a lot of preteens and teens kicked out of their homes because they're gay with nowhere to go and no money. It just breaks my heart. Sorry, I just got a little bit emotional here. Give me just 1 second.
No problem, no problem. Yeah, that is very tough, that whole aspect of it. And that is a big, scary part, especially for younger people to come out and they're afraid that they're potentially going to be just kicked out and thrown to the curb. And, that it's very common, especially here in Los Angeles. It's unfortunately a terrible consequence that happens more often than I think people realize.
And this is exactly why I created this podcast, to bring awareness about what's happening in reality and also to collect all your wonderful and inspiring stories to let the youth know that there are different ways of handling a situation and they are not alone. So that being said, let's hear about your story, Jay.
So my situation is a lot different than Danny's because my mother's actually a lesbian, so that made it a lot easier.
Wonderful.
I know, so that's a little unusual. So when I think I was 15 or 16 years old, right around there, and my parents had just recently gotten divorced. I remember my mom taking me for a walk, and all in the same conversation, she came out to me and told me that she was gay, and then asked me if I was. And so, of course, I told her I was, but it was kind of quite sort of an epic conversation because it was like, wow. I kind of suspected that she was because just of a few little things that I had seen after we moved out of my dad's house. And so it wasn't really shocking. It surprised me a little more that she asked me. But so then that's kind of how that made things much easier for me. Now, my dad, on the other hand, he at the time was highly, highly against anything that was gay because in his mind, it ruined his life. It ruined his marriage. And so, he lost his wife. And so he was very super anti-gay. And I came out to him when I was in college. And he knew, I think, but he just didn't want to, in his mind, have it confirmed. But, it took him many, many years. And he just really struggled with it immensely. And he didn't want to have anything to do with it. And I had met Danny, shortly after coming out to him. And 5 years, 6 years, 5, 6, 7 years. He didn't want to meet him. He even said to me one time, and just the way he said it was so terrible. He said, I don't want to meet your sex partner. And I'm like, that's what he called it. And I was like, okay. It's not really what it is. It's not just a sex partner. So as the years went by and my grandmother, his mother, she unfortunately passed away of cancer. And right prior to her death, she told, and she was very open and she had met Danny and she was fine with it. And she actually said to my dad, like literally right before she died, she said, you need to make things right with your son. You need to really look at this situation. Things aren't going to change and you really need to make things right. So I think that really set a chord with him. So, and he really thought about it. So the next time I was coming home, because I usually would come home at least once or twice a year for holidays and things like that. And before, I'd always have to leave Danny at my mom's house and like just go visit and say hi, which I didn't like doing. And I was getting to the point where I, like right prior to that, basically told him that, this is never going to change. He's a part of my life and we're together and we're either going to come together or I'm not going to come at all and I'm not going to be part of your life. And so this all kind of came to a head around the same time. So he called me right before, I think it was the Christmas we were coming home, I remember, because it was winter time. He said, I would like to meet Danny. Could we meet for lunch, when you're home? And I was so shocked because I was, that was like a total 360 turnaround.
I was actually afraid too.
What about you, Danny? Were you nervous?
Yes. I was like, is he going to hit me or something or what?
He was very, very
I was very nervous.
So I agreed. I said, okay. And I'm like, wow, I was just so surprised. I didn't really know what to think. But he initiated it. So I was like, okay, well, that's just for him to even do that was pretty enormous.
Yes.
So we went and we had lunch and it was fine. Everything was normal and cordial and it actually went really well. And then it's funny, after we had lunch, Dad called me and he said, I have to be honest with
with you.
I really wanted to hate Danny. I just wanted him to be this terrible person I had built up in my mind. And he goes, I have to be honest with you. I can't. He's such a great guy. He is so nice. That really changed.
Yeah,
Everything.
I love it. Such a powerful sharing. I never heard a story like this before.
Sure.
So we have a lesbian mother coming out to her teenager, and then the teenagers coming out in the same conversation. So it's a double experience. And then we have the husband and the dad that is getting double hits in his mind, right?
Yes.
And then we have Danny's family, like traditional and conservative, and yet we are here. Two amazing men having twins, 4 years old, and running a business to help others to create a family. This is so freaking inspiring.
And it's just everything has changed because even with my father, now he's such a completely different person. And, he absolutely adores our boys. And he just recently retired in the last year. And so it's actually been really incredibly helpful because with our business, we do travel a lot. Like we were just at where we met you at the conference in Taipei. And, we've been going to conferences all around the world. And so sometimes we have to travel, and it's not easy to take twin toddlers with you on business trips. And so, my dad has volunteered to come out and watch the boys. So we fly him out, and he stays here sometimes weeks at a time, just babysitting the boys, and he just absolutely loves it. So it's incredible. And every single time I talk to him now, he always asks me, first thing he asks me, how's Danny? He always asks. And it's like a completely different person. So the change has just been unbelievable. Now he's completely accepting. There's absolutely no issues. And it's just been an amazing transformation.
And I love that. As I'm here on the mission for no one to need to come out anymore, and time being, and where we are now as society, as world, like just the whole process of coming out, it's so powerful. It's changing people's perspective and it's opening people's minds.
Exactly.
Powerful. Thank you so much both for your sharing. And you mentioned about traveling, so you remind me about, we said that we'll go back and talk about your agency. So do you mind share with us, where are you located, what do you do, and how do you help other people creating their families?
Sure. So we're located, our offices are in West Hollywood, California, but we're basically a virtual agency. We're worldwide. So the easiest thing is to find us on our website, which is www.famelovesurrogacy.com. And so it's just the same name as our company. So that has all about us and our backgrounds, our stories, and we're 100% gay-owned and operated agency. We're a full-service, not only having surrogacy, we also have egg donors as well. So we can pretty much manage the entire process from the very, very beginning of somebody just not having one clue where to even start. To being with them to the very end in the hospital when they're holding their baby. So it's an incredible journey. As you mentioned earlier, it's very complicated, it's very difficult, and it can be expensive. But what we did when we started the agency, we really wanted to create an agency that catered towards the intended parent, not only an intended parent, but the GLBT intended parent.
Right.
So we really specifically catered our agency to that. We make sure that our donors and our surrogates all know that most likely they will be working with a gay couple.
Yes.
And those are the kind of people we want to work with, who are supportive of us. And so that's what we do. We don't discriminate. We actually have a few heterosexual clients as well. So we don't discriminate against straight people.
Right, I get it. I'm in the same space. I choose to work with LGBTQ people, but I do have clients that they are not gay. You need help, I can help you. I don't discriminate.
We're 90% gay clientele, but about 10% we have our straight clients. So
fantastic.
So the service that our agency has provided, word is getting out. So we're getting so many more people, both straight and gay, wanting to work with us. It's really exciting. The conference that we met you at, the Men Having Babies conference, they're a nonprofit organization. And what's exciting is that they have a rating system of these surrogacy agencies, attorneys, all of those kind of things. And so once somebody's gone through the whole entire process, they can give a rating on a survey of how their experience was. How was their customer service? How much did things cost? How long did it take? They ask all these different kind of questions. And so we're very, very, very proud to be out of about 35, 40 agencies. We are tied for first place in their rankings.
Wow,
And
good for you
that's pretty
guys.
incredible. Our agency is going into its 5th year, and it's pretty incredible that we've been able to do such a good job that it's really paying off and it's really showing. And so it's exciting because we're really able to help so many gay people have and create their families.
I love that.
And we're also part of the Men Having Babies GPAP program.
We had Ron, the founder of Men Having Babies, a couple of weeks ago, and he introduced us to what the GPAP is and what that does. But I'm curious, in closing, if you don't mind taking a couple of minutes and tell us how your agency fits with that GPAP program.
With the Men Having Babies, we participate in their GPAP program, which is the Gay Parenting Assistance Program. So that's a program that gives back to the GLBT community. Since surrogacy is very, very expensive, not everybody can afford to do it. And so it limits, in some cases, only the very wealthy who are able to do it. But this amazing program, which we fully, completely support, is a kind of like a financial assistance program. So they have 2 layers to it, and they do their qualifications, but we're just offer our services. So one of the parts of the program is that they are provided discount to the people if they qualify for. And so we do that. We give away, we pledge to do 4 a year, but I talked to my business partner. He said we're going to do as many as they give us just because we don't care. So we give a 15% discount across the board for our agency fees overall if they qualify for that program. And then we also do their main program, which is all pro bono. So they actually pay 100% of everything. So the intended parent basically pays 0. So we actually provide our services 100% for free and give a surrogate for free, still manage the process, still do everything that we would normally do. But it's our way of kind of giving back healthy.
Thank you. Thank you so much for the work that you do and for people you help. And thank you both for taking the time to be here with us today. I really appreciate it.
No, we're glad we could do it. We love this thing.
Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to Redefine Family, a Spark Transformation podcast. Feel free to share your story, knowing that your story could change someone's life. We invite you to spread the love by sharing our message with others. And leave your comments at spark@redefinefamily.com. Until next time, remember that you are the spark in your life. Just shine bright.